Today, we're going to be going over how to run faster or how to increase your top speed. And what we want to be able to do is create 6 buckets of things that you need to be able to work on to be able to see immediate improvement. So, we want to be able to clearly identify these 6 areas and then also provide exercises or things that you could do, drills, things like that, to be able to help you in understanding how to correct that particular part of the running. We're going to hop right into the video. Okay, so I'm going to be using Usain Bolt primarily here as our way of being able to really understand what's going on within the running, what he's doing really well within each one of his steps. You don't have to run exactly like this, but I think it does give a clear explanation and a clear way of being able to see what are some things that he does really well. Obviously, when it comes to speed development or sprinting technique, there's a lot of things that Usain Bolt does really well. But before we get into looking at these 6 parts to run faster, I do want to go over each one of these 6 so you can understand what we're going to be going over. First one's going to be foot contact time. Second one is going to be stride length or stride distance. Third one is going to be acceleration or start. The fourth one's going to be the arm swing. The fifth one is going to be your push off, or how well you're able to toe off the ground when the foot comes off the ground. And then the last one is going to be the front side mechanics, getting into the landing and being able to have good straightening of the leg when you are at top speed. Many of you guys, if you're looking to get faster, you could probably improve in more than one of these areas, but at least one of these areas has to improve if you are watching a video to improve your speed. And so the first one that we're going to go into is going to be how to improve your foot contact time. And first thing is, and I would almost say most important thing, is we want to be quick with our arm action. If we're long with the arms, we're not going to be able to have a fast foot contact, and we'll get more into the arm swing later on. But the other thing is going to be the heel. So as that foot strikes the ground, we want to be very quick in being able to get that heel up. I see a lot of athletes that they just waste too much time with that heel down into the ground and therefore are not able to get the leg up. To help you out here, one would be you could drop that knee or bend that knee a little bit quicker when that foot comes in contact with the ground. And another thing could be just landing a little bit more towards the front part of the foot. If you end up landing more towards the heel or landing with the heels, now you're going to end up spending a lot more time on the ground. It's going to be harder for you to transition off the ground. Now, a couple exercises that I like to help you out with this would be plyometric exercises, obviously, working on the range of motion within the big toe, within the ankle, getting more dorsiflexion. That's going to be really important. I do think even resisted sprints could be beneficial, really focusing on landing on the ball of the foot, more of like those pushing, like a sled type of a movement or type of an exercise. Also, plyometrics are going to be great. Single leg bounds, straight leg bounds, anything where we're working on fast foot contact time. There's also an exercise that I'll show here that Usain Bolt does that's like a lunge with a arm movement that he does during it that I think helps in being able to create that rhythm of being able to toe off the ground nice and quickly. The second one's going to be improving the stride length. What we want to be able to consider from a sprinting technique perspective is where is the hips in comparison to the shoulders. So what I'll commonly do is I'll take a look at this position. So essentially we're right at toe off or right after toe off here. We want to know where are the hips in comparison to the shoulders. If they're too far back behind, then you're probably not going to have as much distance per step. And then also at this moment, again, better to be after toe off here. If we can get as close to a 90 here, then we're going to be better off when it comes to your ability to pick up more distance per step. So we can see what a 90-degree angle looks like. We'll get this into a 90-degree angle as well. Both of them are not necessarily perfect, but we're definitely on the right track, right? This is the fastest person ever. So it's not like he's doing things incorrectly here. But this is, again, the goal that we want to be able to get to. So when this toe's toeing off, how well are we able to get in a 90-degree angle within the knee? And then how well are we able to get into a 90-degree angle at the ankle? Then a couple things that I think help you in being able to increase your stride length really go much more into how strong are you within the ankles, within the hips, within your glutes, really putting an emphasis on building up the hamstring muscles, Nordic hamstrings or leg curls, things like that. Deadlifts, I think, are great to help you you out with getting that length. And also, obviously, having good range of motion within the hip flexors as well as strength within the hip flexors. All those things are super important when it comes to being able to increase the stride length. Essentially, it goes a lot into the force production. If you're able to generate a lot of force into the ground, that's going to help you in being able to really maximize your distance. So when you're doing speed training exercises and you're looking to increase your strength, you want to be really considering how is this going to increase my stride length. Single leg squats or rear foot elevated squats, lunges, things like that are much more beneficial. Number 3 is going to be your acceleration or your start. The big thing with this is it comes a lot down to timing. I think that you want to be able to understand that when this foot hits the ground, we want to be able to have your foot either right underneath the hip or slightly behind the hip. We also want to maintain having those shoulders out in front of the foot during foot contact time. If you start to land with your foot even with the shoulders or even close to even with the shoulders, then you're probably overstriding. We can see when he's landing, he's got those hips really far right underneath or makes it so his hips are as far forward as possible and he's landing as close as possible with his foot underneath him. But he's definitely behind with his foot in comparison to the shoulders, which I think, again, is a good indicator of if we are overstriding or in a position that's overstriding. You need to be able to have really good balance. We need to have a lot of strength within the ankles, strong within the core, strong within the hip flexors is all important. We need to be able to also have good push-off capabilities within the calves and also good range of motion within the hip flexors, good internal rotation. We could see that you end up being in a very internally rotated position here. So, having a lot of good strength and a good range of motion is going to help, but then also, and probably most importantly, we need to have good rhythm and good timing. So you need to be practicing your start a lot to be able to get better within your acceleration, have a lot of comfortability at being able to get through your first 7 steps, your first 10 steps to make it so then you can get into your top speed. We could do falling starts. We could just work on exercises or drills where you're working on the start. Wall drills, I think, are great to be able to help with your acceleration. I also think things like broad jumps, single leg broad jumps, these are all things that are going to help you in being able to increase your acceleration. And then also, again, balance, single leg RDLs, landing on one foot, being able to have good range through your ankle, through your foot, working on the range of your big toe. These are all important to be able to help you in push and also be able to stabilize and land effectively when it comes to the acceleration. The number 4 thing when it comes to running faster is going to be improving the arm swing or the arm action and being able to understand the action through the wrist. And what we want to be able to see here is the action where we're getting that pinky to pull all the way back. And I think this makes it so it's a lot easier to be able to get good range within the shoulder. I'll see people that are really locked within the wrist and therefore don't get very much extension within the shoulder. And then as you come through, we want to be, again, leading with the wrist, get the knuckles to face back up, and then immediately pulling right back and through. So the faster we can move the wrist, I think the faster that speed is going to be and the more force that we can get in this pull, in this extension to be able to help improve your arm swing. I think we need great range of motion within the shoulders. I like the dips. I like doing things like pull-ups or rows, things that are going to develop the strength within your mid-back or your back muscles in general to make it so you have a strong pull. Also, keeping your triceps strong, your biceps strong, I think is really important. I think that especially doing like hammer curls, things like that, making it so you can maintain a good elbow position here. I see people that will waste time, too much flexion within their elbow. That's going to impact your ability to run as fast as you can. When you pull back, you can get more extension within the arm and get more extension within the elbow. I think that helps engage with the triceps. I think that makes it so we could use more of the lats and create more pull. The number 5 thing when it comes to improving your speed and improving your sprinting technique is going to be the push off. And we'll look at just no allows here just because we're going to be able to stay with it. I mean, this is when he ran 19:31 in the 200, one of the best 200 meter times ever, the best American 200 time ever. And what is important here with the push off is making sure we get plenty of range of motion within that ankle and really being able to get that foot to fully push off while also being able to get an effective knee drive with the leg. And so really understanding, I think, the range and how to push off with that back foot's important. First 4, I think a lot of people can do well and they're pretty fast that are able to do those 4 things well, but there's a lot of people that are not able to get to that next level, and it's because they don't understand that timing with the push off and the knee drive and being able to do that effectively. Being able to work on the calves, work on that lower leg, and being able to understand how to not only push with the foot or with the ankle, but also be able to get the knee drive with that. Because a lot of times we'll see either people will have a hard time in being able to understand how to push with the foot, or they'll have good push, but will be late with the knee drive, which will make it so their foot will get stuck back behind. And so really the fastest people in the world have a great ability to be able to get good extension within the ankle while also being fast with driving the knee through. They don't waste time with their foot back behind them and can still get into good frontside mechanics. And that is number 6 here to finish it off. It's going to be having great frontside mechanics and great landing mechanics when we are at top speed. Now, when it comes to having great landing mechanics, what we want to understand is getting the leg straight up and through and making sure that we're not too wide with that knee. That's a common thing that I'll see is people will end up having their knee right underneath the hip or even outside the hip. And also same thing with the foot. We'll get too wide with the foot. We got to get that knee and foot right up underneath so then we can get into a good dorsiflex position, make it so we can get the toe to face more upwards into the air. The more that we can get the toe up, now we're going to be able to better control foot strikes. So then as that foot's hitting the ground, we could be landing more on the front part of the foot. Now, we could either be reaching for extension or we could be pulling the foot back. Either way, we have to be landing with the leg fully extended. I think the best way to be able to work on this is going to be with either marches or leg switches or 3 switches and hold. Those are the 3 best exercises. You could also use a dowel to be able to keep your arms up, but really being able to do that well. A skips, B skips, those can also effectively help you understand how to be able to land with the right position within the leg. When it comes to frontside mechanics, I think the B skips are great. I also think that doing bounding could be really good for this, or even straight leg bounding. And what I will a lot of times do with athletes is have them do straight leg bounds with a transition into sprinting. So you go straight leg bounds for like 10, 15 yards, and then you transition that into running full speed. I think that's a great drill to do to make it so you can understand how to create that pull and that extension in the leg, and then be able to transition that into your sprinting. But really understanding these last 2, I think, are the key differentiators when it comes to the good sprinters, really potentially even, really good sprinters with the great or the like most elite guys, as they're able to have great push off with that knee drive and also have great leg mechanics when it comes to their landing. They land with a very straight leg or very extended leg, and also do a great job with their front side, being able to get plenty of range of motion through there. Thanks for watching, guys. If you are interested in watching some other videos of ours that we go more in depth into sprinting form, or even do a breakdown on a particular sprinter, you can go ahead and check those out here. And if you want to, like, subscribe, all that type of good stuff, we appreciate you watching. We'll talk to you soon.